topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show. I'm your host, Steve-O, and boy, we've got some great shows for you today. Wow, I don't know if you've seen the weather that's going on in Houston. It is crazy. For all you homeowners who've been writing us to add a show on public adjusting, we found one of the greatest public adjusters. I am so excited about this expert, and boy, is he busy with all the weather they're having in Houston. Let me welcome you to our new expert, Javier Santos. Good afternoon, Javier.
Good afternoon, Steve. It's a pleasure being here with you today.
We finally did it, didn't we?
Yeah, we got it. We made it to the show. We're good. We're doing good.
Tell me what's going on down in Houston.
Yeah. So we just had a major event, Burl, in reference to the hurricane just hit here recently, and we have been overwhelmed with a lot of phone calls coming in. And of course, a lot of things have changed in the insurance industry, the whole realm of how these carriers are managing and moving forward with these claims. It's the big 3Ds, delay, deny, and defend, that what we're looking at all the time. And it's only getting worse.
You know, we're in a hurricane area also being out of Florida. And all we keep reading about, Javier, is that because of the way El Nino is this year, that we are both going to be getting slammed by hurricanes this year. So, this is an important area. You are a public insurance adjuster. There are so many people who do not understand what a public insurance adjuster does. Tell us about your background and about your company.
Yeah, I'll give you a little background, Steve. I've been in the roofing and construction industry for over 30 years. I'm a second generation contractor. My father started the company back in 1967. And throughout the years, we focused our expertise in roofing, then went into general contracting, where we specialize in insurance repair service. At that time, we started to realize that we're really, really good at what we do. We're really good at documenting, evaluating the claims, putting them together, and navigating the entire process of true documentation of why it's necessary for the repair methods early on in the stage in reference to delivering this information to the adjusters. So that way we can have an agreed scope of work to get our clients back into their building and or their business. And we saw that we were really good at that. And that's when we truly got another area where I truly got an experience as a GC and as an expert was in 2011 through the Bastrop wildfires. We were hired as experts to evaluate and look at some of these claims from the fires and document and evaluate the entire process to give this information to the attorneys. And through that process, I was able to meet a few public adjusters. And down the road, I was able to meet a public adjuster by the name of Randall Smith out of Pearland, Texas, who really gave us a good understanding and became a mentor of mine, that gave me the information and how to obtain my public adjusting license. what we do is we truly have a passion for helping people, and also our whole team does. And that's what led me and drove me to get my license as a public adjuster.
I'm amazed at all the homeowners and business owners, because you also handle businesses too, that they don't know how a company like yours can level the playing field.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the biggest challenges that we're seeing right now, that the awareness of what a public adjuster is and how we can help the insured. Statistics right now are showing that, out of the millions of claims that are being settled right now throughout the United States, that only 2.3% are handled or go through a public adjuster. So you can see how the awareness is very low in what we do. So definitely, we are truly an advocate to help the insured recover from a small loss or a large loss on the residential or the commercial side. But yeah, that definitely is an issue. Just a lot of people don't know what a public adjuster is and what we're doing, and that we're out there and those services are available to help them through these times.
Well, we'll probably remember this for a long time. We just got our first text for the show. Thank you so much for getting a public insurance adjuster. It looks like you got somebody really good. I have a question. If I settled on a claim and I was never happy with it, and it's happened within the last 18 months, can a company like yours go back in and possibly get more?
Yeah, it is truly possible. We have 2 years to evaluate a claim and reopen it. So if anybody does feel that they are truly underpaid, then at that point we provide a free evaluation through our firm. We do. And we can go out there and evaluate the damages, document everything, and see exactly what happened. And we can go forward and reopen the claim and see what we can do to get them a fair settlement.
I'm going to give out your phone number right now, because even if you don't need a public adjuster right now, with the way the weather is and things are always happening, and if you've got a business, you might have your next door neighbor have a major flood and it extends into your office. 713-999-1954. That's Santos Public Adjusters. And we'll be giving that number. It's actually rolling across the screen right now. But in case you're on podcast or radio, we'll be giving out the number. Let's go to we've got another text coming in. This is wonderful. Thank you so much. Enjoying the show. This is Lance from Meyerland. I had my roof worked on, and I felt like it was very shoddy work. How do you know, with all these people coming by to offer their service, who's good and who's not? Well, your company's good.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good question, and you definitely want to do your homework when you're choosing a contractor to work on your property and or your home. You want to make sure that they, number one, they're experienced and they have the capabilities of doing the repairs that are needed to restore your home back to its original condition. Some of the things that we look at is, number one, we do collaborate with a lot of contractors, general contracting, roofing contractors, and mitigation contractors. So if anybody needs any kind of guidance or direction, we're more than happy to extend some of the companies that we collaborate with to help them and make sure that the repairs that are necessary, that they're going to be done correct as well with the contractors that we supply. But we don't supply them, we collaborate with them. There are a lot of contractors out there that are good, but you definitely got to get out there and make sure you don't have any flat lines, and it's just checking on references and making sure they have the qualifications and so forth. and write insurance coverage as well for your protection.
You know, Javier, also, I've noticed you're not coming in as clear. Can we get you to come back in again through Chrome or Firefox? I am so sorry, but I want to catch everything you say.
Yeah, let me go ahead and try to do that one more time. Okay.
We're here with Javier Santos. We were so lucky to find him. The name of his company is Santos Public Insurance Adjusters. If we talk about leaks and roofs, but even if you have fire or smoke damage, if you've had a break-in into your house, there's many reasons why that you can have to have a claim, put a claim against your homeowners or your business. And listen, the main job for these insurance adjusters is to give you the least amount possible. And that's where Javier comes in, because these insurance people know that people like Javier know what they're doing, and they're not going to be able to slide things under the rug. And you will find out, because I had a public adjuster before, and you're going to find out that a public adjuster is going to many times get you more than you would get yourself, or especially more than what the insurance company is going to offer you. Let's see how this is. Let's try it again, Javier.
Okay, can you hear me okay? And it might be our actual Wi-Fi. I know that we're having some repairs done because we just recently went through that.
Okay.
High wind.
I was just telling the listening audience that these insurance companies, their job is to pay them the least amount possible. And that's where you come in, because they know when you have a public adjuster, they're not going to be able to slide a lot of things under the carpet, are they?
Right. Yeah, you're 100% correct. Especially now, things are changing drastically. Statistics right now, 95% of all claims that are going out from the insurance company are underpaid. 20% of them are wrongfully denied.
Wow.
One of the biggest things is, number one, the insurance companies are looking out for the insured, but their main focus is to take care of the shareholders as well. And we've been seeing a big change in reference to how they're handling these claims. And like I was mentioning before, the big D's, delay, deny, and defend, and just trying to prolong it as much as they can, and then hoping that some of the insured just get tired and or give up. And most of them give up if they don't have someone like an attorney and or public adjuster on their side advocating and fighting for them. So it's difficult to try to take it upon yourself to try to get a underpaid claim justly paid by yourself.
I was just, while you were gone, I was telling people that, as a public adjuster, when you're talking about claims for your home, it's not just water damage. It could be smoke, fire damage. Somebody could break in. Our next show is a mold show, and you're down there on the water, so you see mold.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So definitely any covered peril from the insurance company. It could be water, fire, flood, pipe burst, break-in. We can definitely help with all cases. The first thing is to review the policy thoroughly, understand the policy, and see what coverages that we can apply to the actual repair methods that are deemed reasonable, and also a reasonable cost that would be submitted on behalf to transpire a good, fair, justified settlement for our clients.
Javier, are you surprised that many people don't know their insurance policy?
Yeah, I came across definitely. There's a large amount of people that have never seen their insurance policy. The policies are large. There's a lot of ambiguous language within the policy that's really, truly hard to understand. And we come to notice now with the hurricane, the tropical cyclone, which is the hurricane, that actual deductible, and a lot of carriers have put that at 5%, and a lot of the homeowners were not aware of that. They, of course, they get their declarations sent to them when they're purchasing it, but they're not thoroughly looking through the entire declarations and/or the policy. And a majority of our clients have not reviewed their policy, so it's kind of a shock when they get some of these estimates back from the insurance company stating that, oh, wait a minute, I didn't know I had a $13,000 or an $18,000 deductible. That's shocking when coming right out the gate and you were not aware of it. You're thinking you had a $2,000 or $3,000 deductible. So yeah, that's definitely an issue and a huge change in the industry.
We got another text, another listener really enjoying the show. I'm glad you found a good public adjuster. I want to know, this is Mike in Memorial, wants to know, why do homeowner policies not cover termites?
Well, that's in reference to it really depends on the policy and how it's written. There are exclusions within that policy, but it also depends on what's happening throughout the entire process. And if we can relate it to what has happened and how it has transpired or unfolded in reference to the damages that we're looking at. But in reference to termites, vermins, and rats and so forth, anything that's more of a common issue, those are more of the common things that they're starting to exclude from policies now to kind of protect them in reference to payouts and so forth. A lot of things are changing throughout policies where they are adding more exclusions throughout the policy. That's generally what's kind of transpired nowadays.
Are you, I know you've had a lot of rain and wind down there. Are you finding a lot of homeowners with roof damage?
Yeah, definitely. We're finding a lot of homeowners with roof damage, and there's a lot of things kind of like I was mentioned before. It's really, really horrible what's happening nowadays, the way the insurance carriers are handling things. We're seeing a lot of denied claims, underpaid claims. We also received a lot of phone calls that were shot that you can have some of the roofing contractors, once they come across a claim and they talk to the insured, the homeowner, and they ask them who's their insurance carrier. Once they find out, they pretty much pause and state that, we're not going to help you. You're going to have to contact a public insurance adjuster to get this going, because they already know right off the bat that there's going to be an issue with those carriers. And the carriers I'm talking about are more of the major carriers, which it's pretty shocking on the stance that they're taking. But yeah, we're seeing a large influx of roofs that are coming in with wind damage, even from previous hail damage, that have been denied or underpaid, where we have to come in and help the insured and sometimes their contractor to document everything and create a burden of proof package to present that to the insurance company to get things overturned and to get them paid. So yeah, we have been seeing a huge influx of roofing claims coming in.
Can you give an example where you really helped a client through a difficult claim?
Yeah, definitely. I'll go back to the roofing. This is back in tornado damage that happened back in January, I think it was the 24th of 2023 in Deer Park, Texas. We had winds that exceeded 140 miles an hour from this tornado.
Wow.
Major damage. We're talking about certain building structures completely down and so forth. This one client was in the path of the tornado, had two roofing contractors, two that tried to help them. They were both getting denies, totally denied the claim. And then one other contractor went in and got open coverage, but the carrier was stating that it was under the deductible amount and there was going to be zero payment. The homeowner had no idea what to do and had a conversation with their neighbor, and the neighbor was told him, you're probably going to need a public insurance adjuster. And at that time, he called us, he engaged us. We went out there and immediately sent our letter of representation in, and also requesting for a reinspection. And they replied back that they have re-inspected that property several times, and there was that we're not going back out to the property. So at that time, we already had our claims investigation team out there evaluating the entire property, the other structures, fences. We documented damage on the roof, home itself in reference to fascia, soffit, gables were damaged, window frames were damaged, AC units were damaged, properties and so forth. Put our whole burden of proof package together, got everything submitted with our findings report. And I would say probably within a couple of weeks, they responded back that they're going to re-inspect. And of course, when you set up these re-inspections, the adjuster is either going to be on time or they're going to be a little bit earlier to try to miss you or a little bit later. This one beat me to the re-inspection. When I got there, I got out of the truck and met with the adjuster. The adjuster was stating that I walked the property briefly, went over the findings report and also your estimate, and found that, number one, I agree with you on most of pretty much the damages, and let's continue to walk the property. Long story short, I say long story short, it did take a period of about 6 months on this claim, but we got them a little over $70,000 on the entire for the property.
Good for you.
You know, so we found more damages with AC, with insert having to be changed. We got to work on an additional supplement of $20,000 on that part right there. But you know, it definitely helps out to have an experienced adjuster on your side that has a background in construction and restoration as well.
Well, I got to tell you, this show has gone by so fast. Javier is going to be back with us again next month. His phone number, write this down, 713-999-1954. It's Santos Public Insurance Adjusters. And I'm telling you, do not try to handle this yourself. Javier, great first show. We'll see if we can get the audio working a little bit better next month. But thank you so much. I'm so glad we've got your company.
Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
We'll see you again. That was Javier Santos. He's got a public insurance adjuster. We are so glad to have them, especially with the weather that's been going on down there. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we've got our next expert. We'll be right back.
And we are back with the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV with your hosts, Steve-O, Sophia, and their expert guests.
We are back. I told you we'd be right back. We have got a great next show, an expert. You know, when you're on the water and you have got, there's a good chance that you're going to get, with all the different types of molds out there, we found the greatest expert when it comes to mold remover. I'm seeing our expert is not here yet. Rebel, why don't you play one of our longer commercials? Let me see if I can write them.
K. Bender Rembaum is a full-service community association law firm dedicated to the representation of community associations throughout Florida. On KBRLegal.com, you can learn more about their offices in Pompano Beach, Palm Beach Gardens, Orlando, Tampa, as well as throughout Miami-Dade by appointment. Several K. Bender Rembaum attorneys are board-certified specialists in condominium and plan development law and assist clients with all matters of community association legal issues while keeping them up to date on new developments that affect their associations. K. Bender Rembaum is also a well-known provider of free legal education for managers and board members. Contact K. Bender Rembaum today by calling 800-974-0680. That's 800-974-0680 to reach any of their locations. You can also visit them online at kbrlegal.com or write to them at info@kbrlegal.com.
And we are back with the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV with your hosts, Steve-O, Sophia, and their expert guests.
And we are back. I think we have our expert now waiting on to come on right now. Yeah, there's Rusty.
Hey, guys. I made it this time.
How you doing, bro?
Good. How's the lighting? Is that too...
It looks good.
Probably too bright.
We are here with Rusty Tweed. He is with... is the lighting okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Rusty's a little
Rusty's...
noisy, though. Are you... Something's noisy. Hang on here. I think I've got...
Rusty's here with... he's the owner for Mold Zero LLC. They're here on the West Coast, actually the Southern California area. And we were so lucky to find Rusty. Rusty, tell us about Mold Zero.
Rusty popped out for a moment. I'm sure he's going to rejoin us, but he had some background noise that he wanted to deal with.
Oh, okay.
So why don't you tell everybody how they can reach Ask the Experts?
Thank you. Yes. Listen, if you'd like to come on our show, all you got to do is call us at 954-336-3767. This is a great opportunity for you to just promote your business. Listen, I've been doing this for 12 years, and I have found that as a podcast, radio, and streaming TV, this is the most powerful way to promote your business. And I'm going to say the most economical way to promote your business. We do legal, health, financial, and home improvement. This show is coming up right now is under our home improvement. We start getting all kind of calls, people wanting to know how they get rid of mold. And, we were able to find, I'm telling you, one of the best companies when it comes to mold removal. This is nothing you want to listen. This involves your health too. So it's very important that you get this taken care of, that you have a professional. And we've got one of the greatest. Rusty, tell people about your company.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we started back in 2015, and how it started actually is my wife actually turned out to have a mold sensitivity, and we lived in a very old home here in Glendale, and there was just issues with living there that we didn't realize until we lived there quite a while, and it came up that she had this mold sensitivity, and in an older home like that, there was mold that was kind of in the walls and under the crawl space and other places like that. That's really hard to get at. And so we did a lot of homework to try and find something that would kill it without destroying our home. And anyway, we came across a fogging process that's totally non-toxic, and it's very effective killing mold throughout a property. And anyway, that's where I realized that this was an opportunity. And then we got into starting this company, Mold Zero, and kind of expanded from there. But since then,
I was shocked when you told us there's so many different types of mold.
There is, and some are more toxic than others. But in the end, mold's a natural thing that we want because, out in the, out in the real world, mold grows and it actually breaks down organic material, right? So you see mold growing on trees and things like that, and it actually breaks it down, turns it into dirt or whatever. But in a home, it's not good. And so
Yes.
some of it can be toxic, some of it's not so toxic, and it really depends on the person. But I figure about 20% of the population is highly sensitive to a lot of molds. And so, now that people spend so much time in their homes and everything else, it's really important to make sure you're in an environment where, it's not bothering you. And so mold can actually, if anybody has any kind of a respiratory issue or any kind of sinus issue, the mold may not have caused it, but the mold will definitely aggravate it. So again, if anybody has any kind of like asthma or anything like that's bothering them, there's a good chance that there's mold in their environment, and it's important to have that checked out.
And Rusty, we talk about the home, but mold attacks businesses too, right? Don't they?
Yeah, you can find it in the business environment as well. I find office buildings, it's not as prevalent as it would be in a home. But anywhere, well, the truth is that in order to have mold, there had to be some source of moisture. So any kind of home that's had any kind of, any building that's had any kind of water leak, a roof leak, it could be condensation from the air conditioning, it could be a leaky pipe, could be sprinklers that are spraying up against the side of a wall, and it actually, the moisture over time will seep inside.
Oh yeah, I didn't think of that.
Or here in LA too, an interesting thing we run into more often than you'd think are homes that are on a grade. So like on a hillside, you'll have one home that's 3 or 4 feet higher than the home below it. And the water from the higher elevation, the higher property will seep down through the ground into the crawl space underneath the home, or it will pool up against the side of the foundation. And over time, if it's not drained correctly, it will actually get inside that wall or inside that foundation and create mold problems over time. So there's a lot of unique situations that we run into, but it all comes down to some form of moisture that's getting into that property and creating the mold.
We just got 1, 2, 3, 4 texts in the right row, and they all basically ask the same thing. How do I know if I have mold?
Well, there's really 2 ways. One, visually, you'll see it growing, or you have to get it tested. I know that in my own home, when we were trying to figure out what was bothering my wife, we had to have it tested because we didn't see any visual mold. And when we had the testing done, and again, you have somebody come in and we do the tests for our clients, where we'll take the samples, we send it into a professional lab that specializes in this kind of testing, and you'll get a profile sent back to you showing you what type of mold is in that environment. And then we know for sure. And in most cases, when we're doing a job, we get a post-test afterwards to make sure that we really got rid of the mold, because there's some cases where it's hard to get rid of and we have to do several steps more than what we realized. But in the end, it's going to be that lab test that really tells you whether the mold's there or not.
Does mold have an odor to it?
It usually does. If you walk into anything and it smells kind of musty, that musty smell, I'm sure everybody's familiar with what I'm talking about. For sure, there's mold if there's any kind of musty smell. If the air doesn't feel clean and fresh, then there's a good chance that there's mold. And again, just about any older property, and by older I mean property over about 15 years, there's a good chance that there's some mold somewhere. And again, it could be from the crawl space below the house. It could be roof leak. We run into a lot of situations where there's leaky faucets or leaky hookups, to your washing machine or your, dishwasher, things like that. Or we just did a house, actually beautiful home in Pasadena, right by the Rose Bowl there up on the hill. And they bought a new refrigerator and they pulled the old fridge out and it was black in behind there. And there had been a leaking, for your ice machine, very small tube. Well, that had been leaking probably for years. And it
Oh
was
my
very
gosh.
nasty back there. Yeah, so it was a whole big job cleaning that out because we had to, in that case, we had to remove the damp drywall that was in back there, and also the floor, because it had been damp for literally, it's probably damp for several years because of a small leak, and we had to remove that. So yeah, there's a lot of, but again, it all comes down to there's going to be some kind of moisture first, and then you're right, you will smell some kind of musty smell or some kind of odor that smells a little bit off, and there's a good chance there's mold.
Rusty, what sets Mold Zero LLC apart from, say, traditional mold remedy? I always get crazy on this word, remedy services.
Remediators, that's the word.
That's the word I'm thinking of.
Remediation, we call it. Yes.
How do we set Mold Zero apart from those other companies?
Yeah, well, I think because I've been in a situation where we've lived with my wife having a mold sensitivity. We've kind of gone the extra mile, and to the point where today a lot of the work we get is actually from doctors and their patients that have mold sensitivity. Now, in those kind of situations, we got to be way more thorough than your regular company. So, for example, well, I just give you an example there of the place that had the mold behind the refrigerator. So we go in there and we remove it, which is what most companies would do, and we set up a containment first so that when we do remove that mold, it doesn't get all through the home, because whenever you aggravate mold, it's spores. So it's going to give off little spores that go floating around the air. Now, once those spores get into the air, they get sucked up into the air handling system, and you're going to end up with these mold spores through the whole home. So, I mean, you don't necessarily see it because they're microscopic spores, but if somebody has any kind of mold sensitivity, they're going to sense that in whatever room they're in. And so again, we have a lot of companies will come in and they will remove the mold in a specific location, but we follow up with a fogging process. And we tell people, look, if you have mold in one room, we've got to fog the entire property. And the reason is that those spores have gotten released. And again, whenever you aggravate the mold or whatever, it gets worse. And so those spores are floating all through, and they land, like I said, you might have the actual visible mold in the kitchen, but then those spores have gotten sucked up and they're now in the bathroom, they're now in the bedroom, they're now in the living room. And so it's all through the home. So even though you don't see it, believe me, those spores are there and they land on top of your, the frames on your picture, it lands on the flooring, etc. So by doing this fogging process through the entire home, every room and every closet and the attic, and doing it all through the air handling system, this non-toxic fogging system that we use kills everything. And then we know we really got it. And then there's one other step that we're going to do. We're going to actually wipe everything down, because now that those spores have been killed, they're going to fall down and they're going to land on the surface of your desk and your bed or whatever it is. So we use special HEPA vacuums. We're going to vacuum everything down thoroughly and wipe everything down. So now that we've killed those spores, we want to get rid of them out of the environment totally. And then we do another step where we do a special spray. And again, it goes on the surface of everything in your home, the walls and your TV and everything else. You don't see it, it's microscopic, but it puts a coating on, and that coating will actually protect that surface from mold. So if something lands on that surface, some mold, actually it goes beyond mold, it's any kind of microbe lands on that surface for the next year, it's guaranteed to kill that microbe. And so now You've got a long lasting situation that's going to continue to kill the mold. So again, I can't stress this enough. I've had so many situations where people go, hey, I've got mold in the bedroom, I just want you to do the bedroom. We're like, no, we got to do the entire home, because if you've had mold in there, I guarantee you that mold is spread all through your entire home. And especially if there's anybody in your family that has any kind of, like I said, respiratory issues or any kind of sensitivity, even though we've removed it from that bedroom, those spores have gotten all through the home, and we insist on doing the whole place. And it doesn't cost that much more to do the entire home, but then we get it. And then, like I said, 90% of the time, we're going to do a post test. So we're going to actually test the air in different parts of the home, and we're going to prove to you that we really got it and that it's really gone. And if we didn't get it, and I can't say we're perfect every time in the first round, Sometimes there's other steps we have to do to make sure we got it. But then and we know that we really got rid of that mold by doing that post test and having it go into laboratory.
That just makes so much sense. I mean, your 5-step process is just amazing, Rusty.
It is, and again, it's going the extra mile. We're actually doing something for somebody that's beyond what normal companies do, and again, we've come from the area of dealing with people that have had mold sensitivity. If we don't fully get it, it's going to continue to bother those people. But if we get it right, I can tell you story after story. People go onto our websites, they can see testimonials, and there's videos on there of people that have had, real serious physical problems. And after we've treated their home or their environment, whatever it is, it's almost miraculous. They sleep better, they breathe better, they have more energy. I mean, it's like day and night for some people. And look, I'm not that sensitive to the mold. I mean, I can tell when I walk in an environment, I can smell it, but It's not going to bother me. But my wife, she cannot walk in a room that has mold. She just starts coughing and sneezing and all these other issues. And so, a lot of times, and it's usually the wife that's more sensitive, or the woman that's more sensitive than the man. And so guys don't seem to care quite that much, but then the women are the ones that are going to be suffering more. And they're usually in the home more than the man too. So again, these are issues that we've gotten very familiar with dealing with. Our technicians are very highly trained. They understand how important it is to get this, because if they don't, people's health suffers. And that's really where we're coming from.
And you do this advanced fogging technology work. Can you explain that?
Yeah, and again, there's several steps to it, but the main thing is you have to use a again, we kind of wanted. Well, I should probably go back a little bit. We're really into all natural stuff. We're gluten free. We have non hormones and non steroids in our meat and all that kind of stuff. So we came across a process, and it uses what's called parasitic acid, which is basically a combination of hydrogen peroxide and vinegar. And if you study the chemistry on it, it's just oxygen and hydrogen. That's it. And oxygen and hydrogen breaks down very quickly and very easily and just goes into the air. Okay. And so when we use this fogger, we're using parasitic acid. When we do the fog, it turns into very, very fine mist, and it permeates the whole space. It'll go into your closet. You want to get it into the drawers of your clothing. You want it to get into everything, because it will kill everything. And that's why I use hydrogen peroxide for sterilizing. In fact, this process was originally developed for doing operating rooms and surgical centers and things like that, because it's so effective. And once it's been sitting there for a short period of time, it just turns into oxygen and hydrogen, and it's virtually non-existent. You'll smell a little vinegary for maybe a day, but then it's totally gone. So we're really doing a treatment that's absolutely non-toxic. You don't have to worry about your plants. You don't have to worry about your animals or your kids. Literally hours after we've done this treatment, it's all good. You can walk into that environment.
We just got a text in. Love the show. I live in a condo. If my next door neighbor has mold, can it get into my condo?
Well, the answer is it very likely can, and it depends where the mold is. We've done a lot of condo situations where, the unit above had a leaky air conditioning system and it leaked down into the one below. If you're sharing a wall and the person had, for example, we rented a lot where people had a leaky washing machine, right? And it flooded the area and then it got into the wall. Or there was a leaky roof and it came down the wall also. So if you're sharing a wall and there's mold on the other side, then there's a good chance it's going to bother you and your side. The only way to really tell for sure is to have us come in there and actually test it. So we'll actually take swab samples off the wall. We'll take air samples, and we can test and see if you do have mold. That's really the best way to go in that route.
I've got to ask this because a lot of people just don't understand about mold and, the kind of process you go through. So Tell people, Rusty, why should I hire your company?
Well, we're good. What can I say? but the bottom line is we understand mold. My guys have been trained. There's an organization called Normie. And so my guys have been trained and certified through Normie. That's a company that specializes in how to treat mold. Also, my main guy actually was living in Florida, and we also have an operation in Florida besides here in California. In Florida, the bar is very, very high for any type of regulations having to do with mold. Believe it or not, in California, there's zero regulations having to do with mold. Anybody can become a quote unquote mold specialist in California. Yeah, but my guys have been trained and licensed in Florida, and it's, like I said, a very high bar. And in Florida, whenever we do a job, we have to have a third party that's not part of our company come in and do the testing afterwards by law over there. So it's a much more strict environment when it comes to treating this. So our guys have been used to that environment. And so, like I said, here in California, literally look it up. There's no regulations. You don't have to have any license. You don't have anything here in California. Anybody can say they're a mold expert, but you can't do that in Florida. Florida, it's very, very strict. And so that's the level of expertise that we're bringing here. And we're proud of it because, again, we're bringing a whole another level of treating mold. And in the end, you want to have that test done after the treatment to make sure we really got it. And that's our way of truly proving to you that we got rid of the mold for you.
Well, let's give everybody your website and also give them the phone number.
Yes, I'm not sure if you can see it flashing there, but yeah, we actually have here in California, it's moldzero.llc.com. If you look up moldzero.com, it's fine. That'll take you to our Florida website, and then it'll direct you back here. So that's not a problem, either one. And then our phone number here in California, we're in the San Gabriel Valley. It's 626-671-2951. And we service the whole LA basin, we're pretty much in a 50-mile radius of the Pasadena area. Our office is in San Marino, which is right beside Pasadena. So, we do a pretty wide range of area doing our treatments.
Somebody just wrote, do you cover the, I can't read his writing, San Diego. Do you cover the San Diego area?
I mean, if it's a larger job, we would go down there for it. We're not normally down there. Okay. So again, if someone calls in, and again, our phone number is 626-671-2951. If somebody called in and talked to, actually Jessica's usually one answers the phone, and she can get the information and find out whether it's an area that we would work in. But yeah, if it's a larger job, we would definitely go down there to do it. But 99% of our work is in the LA basin.
Well, I know how important customer service is to you. You've got some great employees, Rusty. Again, we want to let you know if you've got, I think you're in the Tampa area, aren't you, in Florida?
Correct. Yeah, in Florida, we service Tampa Bay and the west coast of Florida.
Beautiful. Well, Rusty, thank you so much, man. We just loved having you on the show. And mold is, just think about your health. I mean, you want to make sure that you don't have mold. And if you do, you need to get rid of it. Rusty, thank you so much. Again, the name of the company is Mold Zero LLC. Thanks, Rusty.
Great. Thanks, Steve. And hopefully we can help you folks. We're here.
That's Rusty Tweed. It's the Mold Zero LLC. And hey, that's going to wrap it up for us today. We'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts. Everybody have a blessed week. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Experts show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.